to the Bronx Journal. I'm your guest host, Sandra Garcia. The Point Community Development Corporation is an organization dedicated to youth development and the revitalization of the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. To learn more about the work of this organization, we have with us the Point's Youth Program Director, Earl Skinner. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
First, let me ask you, could you give us an overview of what the Point is about?
Okay, so basically, if you know anything about the history of the South Bronx and Hunts Point, or something like the phrases like the Bronx is burning, the Bronx, well, where I work at in Hunts Point, has a lot of issues that the Point is trying to address in three very specific ways: community development, arts and culture, and youth development. And we feel like through those three tiers, we can actually help transform the neighborhood.
Okay, talk to me about some of the programs that there are for the youth at the Point. I know you said three tiers, but I want to focus on the youth for now.
Okay. So some exciting things that we have in the youth development department. Have you ever heard of Cirque du Soleil?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have a social outreach aspect of Cirque du Soleil called Cirque du Monde. So we teach social circus skills. So it's using circus as a modality, as a therapeutic modality. So we teach kids through circus to build self-esteem and confidence. And we also, as a cool thing, we get to go to the show. So anytime Cirque has a show in the town, we get to go to Randall's Island and check it out for free, which is cool.
That's pretty cool. Now, you work with the youth, and like this is a program that you said helps the youth in Hunts Point and keeps them, I guess, out of trouble.
Right.
What other programs are there at the Point that service the youth and help them stay off the streets?
So with circus, we teach the kids, like we work with 1st through 8th graders, but in addition to the after-school program, we have teen nights. So we have No Beef Thursdays at the Point, where Heather Mills, who donated like $1 million of vegan product to Hunts Point, and our chef at the Point, Kelson Bascom, he cooks up, he makes it taste like it's chicken and meat, and we hang out and we have all kind of teen programming from like art to the teen circus, so the same thing I talked about before. And then we have another exciting program that I'm part of called Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and it's literally freestyle therapy. So we have a teaching artist in the room and an MSW, and we currently do that at the Point as well.
Okay, through your program, Beats, Rhyme, and Therapy, how did that get started at the Point?
Okay, so like Beats, Rhymes, and Life was originally in Oakland, California, and it's been out there for at least like a couple of years now. And I was connected to somebody who's on their board, and they knew that I love, in my spare time I'm a teaching artist, and I do poetry, spoken word, and rap, and they knew I was like interested in that. So I thought it would be a perfect fit since the Point is known for creativity and stuff like that. So and it's the birthplace of hip hop, the South Bronx. So we thought, why not do it there?
Right.
So it became a collaboration.
What kind of skills do you see grow in the youth of the South Bronx through a program like Beats, Rhymes, and Life?
Basically, everything when people ask me what we do exactly or what kind of business I'm in, and I say we're in the self-esteem business. So the idea is whether it's through like photography, through ICP, the International Center for Photography, or again, Cirque du Monde, or Beats, Rhymes, and Life, it's all about building self-esteem and confidence. So at the end of the day, specifically through Beats, Rhymes, and Life, you see that their confidence level grows. So they might begin and their voice might be low or they might not be speaking loud enough, but as their skill set grows and as the safe space kind of like inspires them with confidence, they become more confident.
Now, I want you to walk me through a day of a child in this program. What does being a participant in this program entail? Like, what is it dated, like, hour by hour?
Craziness. I'm just playing. So basically, for a kid in the after-school program, we pick up from the neighboring schools. So we try to have very strong connections to the neighboring schools, to the point like I have a lot of my teachers of the kids in my program. I have their cell numbers on my phone. So we work with PS48, one of the great schools in the universe, Bronx Charter School for the Arts, and St. Athanasius, as well as MS Middle School 424, or 201 now. And we pick them up. They get to the Point about 3:30. They have snack, and they do homework for an hour, and then they go into 2 enrichment activities. Okay. So whether it's art and then Cirque, or dance and or like something like that.
Okay, through the Cirque du Soleil program, what is it the day-to-day?
Okay, so once you're in the circus program, they basically do a check-in. Most of our classes start with a check-in, just to see where the kids are at.
Right.
We don't know what happened before they got there, and we want to make sure like there aren't any incidents, just to see how they're doing. So we do check-in staff and kids, and then they do a warm-up stretch, and then they get into different activities. Sometimes it's tumbling and flipping, sometimes it's juggling, sometimes just clowning skills, and they do that for the rest of the period.
Very good. What kind of parent involvement do you see with the programs? Because I know the community is known for like troubled statistics, etc. But what kind of parent involvement do you see?
Honestly, parent involvement is always like a struggle because they're in our program because parents don't have time. They're stressed. They have to work and pay for everything. So like getting parents as much as we want is a struggle. But I feel like we have a very good group of parents only because we tend to see the same kids year to year. They register again and again and again. So it becomes very much like a family vibe. And we definitely want to shout out Miss Yolanda, who's one of our parent volunteers. So she basically volunteers free to serve in the Point, like, you know, from 3:30 to 7 o'clock, basically every day.
Okay. Now, I heard you say you get the same kids over and over. A big problem with youth after-school programs that I'm aware of is registration and keeping your numbers up and making sure that, you know, the numbers in your program match the amount that's in your case, like that you're supposed to have in your caseload. What are some sort of registration outreach that you guys do in order to get more kids or keep your numbers right to get grants and stuff?
Well, I've been working at the Point for 10 years now, and the Point itself has been around for about 16. So I think it's just like word of mouth at this point. And reputation. We've been in the neighborhood so long, and like I said before, we don't have like as many kids. We don't register like 200 kids or 150 kids.
Right.
It's more of a smaller boutique program. So it's like we're happy for our 65 to 75 kids. But the idea is that way, even myself as the director, I know every kid's name, and I know most of my family members. So it's such a close-knit vibe that we're just there to kind of support.
Okay. You've been with the Point since 2002, right? So what kind of changes, what sort of evolution have you seen with the Point from the year 2002 to 2011?
That's a good question. I've seen this a lot more things happening. The Point basically has really helped to galvanize the community and help them to articulate their voice. Since I've been there, there weren't really any major parks in the neighborhood, and now we have two: Hunts Point Riverside Park and Barretto Point Park.
Right.
So those are two big changes in terms of helping to green the neighborhood. Because instead of like, also while I've been there, like there's like maybe 3 or 4 prisons like in that neighborhood. Definitely the Point has helped as part of a force with different CBOs in the neighborhood has helped to push back proposals for other prisons to be built in the neighborhood. And now we have Spofford youth detention facility that's supposed to close down.
Really?
Yeah. So hopefully it really does. Because last time they said that, they just changed the name, and that's a whole other game. But you know.
So how many students? What percentage of the kids you could say in Hunts Point do these programs at the Point service?
That's a very good question. I would say upwards of like 200 people.
200 kids.
200 plus.
Okay. And most of these are from the schools you mentioned before?
No, not necessarily. Just because that just serves our after-school program, which again is only about 75 kids out of the whole amount.
Okay.
But then we also have tons of team programs like like the International Center of Photography, that outreaches, and plenty of others that kids just come in off the streets for.
Okay. What do you think stops programs like Beats, Rhymes, and Life from flourishing throughout the borough? Because we know that in the Bronx, Hunts Point, it's not the only, you know, impoverished or dangerous community. So what do you think stops that?
Stops those kind of programs from like really is just I think knowledge of it, which is really, that's why I'm grateful to be here, just to spread the word about the great programming. Also, and just like money, like you know, there's a lot of cuts going on right now. So if we didn't have money before, we definitely is harder pressed for funding now. Everybody is across the board. So just trying to figure out ways to do more with less is just a continuing skill you have to have if you want to do this type of work.
What kind of funding do you guys get? Where do you guys get grants, RFPs? How do you guys get that?
Good question. When I first started there, we had a funding stream through Robinhood, but that cycle was about 5 years. So when that cycle ended, it was definitely like a big transition that hit us kind of hard. Now, for the most part, it's like, you know, private grants and foundations. So it's like a hodgepodge of different investors and stuff like that.
What are some of the investors or foundations that provide the Point with money to be able to do these programs for the kids?
There are several, and I don't even want to start listing names. I will say one. I mean, Variety Children's Charity is one of them because they were there today, and then like a host of others. And sometimes the founders specifically want to host specific programming.
Okay, I know that Hunts Point right now is below the poverty level. About 85% of the community lives below the poverty level on public assistance. These programs, what are they doing to enrich the lives of these kids?
Yes, Hunts Point is one of the, we are in one of the poorest congressional districts in the U.S., so that's one of the challenges that we have. We also deal with environmental racism, so we have a lot of the truck traffic comes in there, so we definitely, Hunts Point has the highest asthma rate in the United States.
Yep.
What we do is really and truly, like, we really, especially in the youth development aspect, we're investing in those kids, but like not in a kind of cliche kind of way. We're investing in them with the expectation that it will come back and support the programs that we already have, and that they will supplant the staff that's here, the ones that we are raising up now.
Right. I want to throw a little number at you. 95.9% of victims of shootings in New York City are Black and Latino. What are programs like yours and the programs that are being run at the Point doing to help bring the statistic down?
Again, it's the, sadly, because these things happen so much in areas like Hunts Point, you get used to it, and you think it's not. You start to think it's a norm, and that's a dangerous thing. I think from what I see from what we can do from an after school program model is that we have to help kids and adults learn how to solve conflict peacefully, and also to have enough self-esteem that they can walk away from a situation that's dangerous to them. And specifically what we do is we do social architecture. So basically we build pipelines into programs. So we have hopefully a kid goes from the after school program to our teen program action, activists coming to inform our neighborhood. Then hopefully after they're done with that, they join City Year, a miracle program that's housed within the Point. The idea is that we always want to keep these guys off the streets in as much fulfilling experiences and structured activity, and teach them as many skills as possible so they can develop whatever it is that they want to do and become in the future.
You mentioned them walking out of, serious situations that can get them in some issues later on in life. What do you ever get students or kids that are in the wrong walks of life? And if so, how do you take a child that's, like you said, it's become the norm for them and take them through another form and teach them that there's better?
Direct mentoring. You have to get out from you have to go beyond just teaching and instructing, and just realizing that we're life coaches. So what we try to do at the Point, at least in the after school program, is just explain to the kids what their jobs and responsibilities are and what ours are. Like ours are that we are their coaches, that we're their life coaches. We're there to challenge them. We're there to help them take risks, and we're there to guide them when they make certain mistakes or wrong choices.
Okay. What are some new programs that are currently in the works for the Point?
Okay. So we do have a couple of exciting things. Like this is the first year for Beats, Rhymes, and Life, so that's I'm really excited about that. Then we have I believe that was funded through the New York Foundation, a women's group, a women's empowerment group, and a men's empowerment group. Okay. And their goal is basically to deal with these high HIV and STD stats, and also the violence that's prevalent in the streets.
Great. How can the community help you help the youth?
Okay, that's a very good question. So what we need are, we need people who want to volunteer. We need people, because again, like with funding being cut, we need very specifically people who want to volunteer. What kids don't get enough of is one-on-one support. So I would definitely put out a call for any and all teachers who are in the nearby or not nearby who wants to put in time, or retired teachers who want to do one-on-one tutoring with kids. We have tons of kids for you to help and tutor. If there's people who have a skill set, if they're an artist and they want to help us with advertising, if you in school for marketing, you want to help us with our marketing, is basically just bringing your skill set, your passion to play in a way that can provide powerful service. So if anybody's looking for powerful service, come see me. We can get you into something that'll make you feel great about yourself and help us out.
That's great. You mentioned City Year, so I'm going to backtrack for a little bit. City Year, you said, is an AmeriCorps program, and I'm aware that what they do is give volunteers grant money for them to be able to pay for college. Right. What percentage of your kids go to City Year, if it even happens?
That's an excellent question. So like, for example, let's see, I would say, it's hard for me to give a percentage, but I can definitely say that I've been there long enough now. That's the cool thing about being and staying in the agency for like 10 or plus years. You can get to see the changes. So I've definitely had people graduate from Action definitely straight into City Year. And we've had like occurring again and again people who come from the Point and then end up in City Year. So I think we have a pretty good percentage of that like happening now. Could be more, But again, it's really up to the kids and whether or not it's a good fit for them.
Right. That's great. I'm sure that, you know, with everything you're saying, there's some parents out there that are extremely interested. So if you could give us some contact information.
Yes, of course.
I'd appreciate that.
You can contact me specifically at eskinner at thepoint.org. That's ESKINNER at thepoint.org. Or if you have a computer, please check out our website, www.thepoint.org. We have tons of information and resources, video, audio clips about the great work and the kids and what they're doing. You should definitely check it out.